reason you don't pay attention to female genital mutilation is because nothing of you is cut. The removal of your foreskin as men is not important. But if they cut part of your head tissue, then you will know what women suffer when they go through mutilation. But that started the ball rolling, and now there's a law against FGM, isn't there?
Yes.
It had to start somewhere.
Hello, who do we have here today?
We have here Fatima Bampia.
And Fatima Bampia, you look so beautiful right now.
Oh, thank you.
What is this event about?
We have a news exhibition here today, which is organized by the university student, the SJTM, and it's kind of the first time ever in the Gambia here. So I'm so excited to be part of it. I'm so excited to be here. I can't just wait to just pull up this event because it's really going to be good because it's pertain about journalism since in the 80s up to date. So it's going to be really fun and interesting and educative. So I'm super happy, and that's why I'm looking all professional and that, you know. So that's your goal.
Wow. Wow, this is super good. Okay, that's the camera lady. Let me help you. Wow. You guys came for exhibition and you guys are taking pictures? Yeah. You're going on my page. Oh, you look so cute. The news exhibition have just started. So pictures you see are great men and women who fought for the history of journalism. So you guys can see everybody is concentrating, focused, and just learning a lot.
Gambia in London was obviously a problem. So the traders got together in 1893. This is C.W. Townsend's. The reporter whose work gave us what they call the Newspaper Act 1944. It was treatment, the government wanted to treat the F word, as I have explained, and we finally found laws to conduct our business. That's Landry Peters, the father of Dr. Florence Mahoney, and he was editor of the Gambia Echo from 1947 until he died in 1968. And then Burang John, an assistant of his, a Wolof man who left his Islamic studies to grasp on the naib of one of the two naibs of the Imam Ratib of Gambia. You know that. Mustafa Koli, one of the best writers. You should read his works in the archives, in the newspapers. One of the most brilliant journalists to have worked in this country. Fine language. This man read all kinds of books. So when he decided to write, it was a joy. It's a joy to read. This is Governor Hilary Blood, who was governor when all of this legislation was going on. Findin Daly, who lived, I think, somewhere around Hagan Street by the square there. And he had the Gambia Public Opinion. And we come around, we have James Francis Senegal. James Francis Senegal published his paper, and he was also a member of the City Council. And for those of you who know Banjul, in word of Bopim Bilami, that's Edward Francis Small, father of journalism, father of trade union, and father of the cooperative movement. Founded the first cooperative movement 1918-1919, founded the Gambia Outlook at Senegambian Reporter 1922, and established the Native Defense Association to fight for poor civil servants who could not make the kind of suffering that you heard from the poem just now from the lady. He stood for the downtrodden. He spent all his life, and they exiled him from Senegal, exiled him to London, and tried to kill his enterprise. And the man who was going to kill this fellow and just obliterate him was Governor Cecil Armitage. That's why I wrote an article a few years ago to say Armitage School, the name of Armitage School must be changed. because Armitage School in 1927 was named after the governor, but that's the governor who exiled this man and left him to die in penury and poverty, because this man was talking about independence, and Governor Armitage was an empire governor. He did not believe in anything about African emancipation. He believed in the greatness of the British Empire, and this was the guy who told him, we are not going to accept it, we want independence. So independence for the Gambia, which came in 1965, did not start in 1965. It started way back in 1913, 1910, 1920, in the hands of this man here. That's Governor Armitage. Armitage School, Georgetown, is named after him. This was the worst enemy of Edward Francis Small. And but he's part of the history. John R. Foster was an honorable parliamentarian and also editor of the Gambia Echo. This is the founder, William Dixon Coley, founder of the newspaper The Nation, which incorporated Africa Nyato. Jones also took up the Gambia Outlook after the death of Edward Francis Small, but he could not publish it as a tabloid, so he reduced it to a cyclo-style paper and called it the Gambia Outlook in miniature. That's one of the bravest men in journalism, and was one of the greatest men in journalism. This is Baba Musa Tarawale, who was one of the journalists who was jailed by the Jawara government because he wrote 9 stories saying the president of the Gambia was using forced labor on his farm in Barajali, his rice farm. And they took him to court in 1972 and locked him up for 27 months. And when he came out, he won his case in the West African Court of Appeal. He started his paper again, he published 1 issue, and he was hounded out of the town, and he ran away into exile and lived with his brother in Guinea-Bissau. He did not return to the country until the PPP arranged a reconciliation between him and Sir Dawda Jawara when he came back and started editing the Gambia Times. Ibrahima Ahmad Saliu Burang John, who started off in labor union work and became editor of the Echo under Peters, and then finally this is the man who postponed the Republican status of the Gambia, moved it from November 1965 until May the following 1970, because he stood and he said the Gambia was not ready for an executive president. A simple man, but his pen stopped an entire referendum and postponed. That is why the Gambia did not become a republic in November of 1965, rather became a republic in April of 1970. So his pen has served this nation. Man Sheriff Bojan, he's been in journalism for a long time, for his young age, and now he's the editor and owner, proprietor, I think, of the Standard newspaper, and he's a brilliant young man, lovely to be with, and he is here to help you with whatever questions you might have. Babagale Jallo has ended up as with the TRRC, but he started off and he edited a paper called The Independent, and his paper was the paper that was attacked. He and Jallo, they attacked his press, burnt his machines, left a pistol behind, and then you heard at the TRRC exactly the soldiers who went to burn the Independent newspaper office. And Baba Gale had to go to America. He came back, he lectured in the United States, came back, and of course served the TRRC. Here's another maverick, a strong man in journalism, Swaibu Konate, director of information at one time, and then when he finished with that, he did his own news report and of Barueli Productions, and also part of the writing team for the story of the PPP. A very strong journalist, best essayist at the St. Augustine's during his time. In fact, when Swaibu Konate was attending St. Augustine's, the tradition was every student must write an essay every Saturday. And Swaibu was such a great master with the pen in the English language that Father Little used to expose his, was it Father Little, one of the Irish priests, used to pin up his essays for the rest of the students to read because he had such a fine pen. Not a great public speaker, but a very fine writer. Who doesn't know Demba Ali Jaw? Demba Ali Jaw? You don't know him? Oh my goodness. All right, somebody, former Minister of Information and a robust journalist and a man who is not afraid to speak to power. So Mane wrote about corruption. And when he wrote about corruption concerning the Gambia Commercial and Development Bank, the managing director of the bank sued him. And they took him to court and they said, explain the $9 million, so forth and so on. It's in the paper. If you go to that year, the March edition, you will see how Sanamane got to court and how he walked out of court a free man because he said what he published was true. But then there was nobody there giving him the right documents, bringing out the right documents to prove that what he reported was true. He was going to be jailed, and he took the counsel of a lawyer called Sam George, and including Raymond Sock, who is a well-known lawyer, and he argued on his own behalf in the absence of Sam George and walked out of court. I used to know, but I think he's gone away. He lives in Sierra Leone now.
Yeah, Greg Johnson.
Well, he says he's going to come back someday. The editor, he was the editor of the London paper New African, and when he came back from England after editing New African in London, he came back and started the Topic magazine. He invited Saptiyu Joe, one of the women up there, and another journalist called Samba Fall, and we bought shares and we established the Topic magazine. Samba Fall left immediately to join the BCC, where he finally became mayor. Saptiyu Joe and I carried on for another few months, and Saptiyu went over to edit a United Nations magazine for on women's affairs.
Sada for that man.
And this man carried on until he ran out of money. You will see Jawo, you will see, oh, they're there. And we now know what happened to Data Highland. That's journalism. Please don't touch, these are fragile documents. Okay, Gambia Echo. And that's John Bidwell Bright. Now we are talking about the people who have put money in journalism. Mr. Bright was not a journalist. Mr. Bright was a proprietor. There was a cinema called Ritz Cinema on Fitzgerald Street. This is the man who financed the Vanguard. And the Vanguard was a political party paper. That is Kenneth Y. Best, who gave us our first tabloid, weekly tabloid in this country. Kenneth Best is a Liberian, and he has gone home. And if you follow the story of the Daily Observer, you will see that's the man who brought Daily Observer to the Gambia. And Daily Observer was finally a Gambia cool. All right, let me just raise this. You need to keep abreast with what history this woman has contributed. Leita Fasote, editor-in-chief of the Daily Observer, and what she contributed in making sure. Aisha Davis, she's still there, a government person, and she has worked with the Gambia News Bulletin. Marion Foon, the first woman to own a newspaper in this country. She first woman to own a newspaper. English woman, married to Uncle Keba Foon of Bakau. Yes, an English woman married to Keba Foon, an accountant. And when the paper was going down, he sold the machines to Mr. Dixon Coley, who we saw over there. And that's when she sold the machines to Dixon Coley. That's when the Nation started to publish in tabloid form. A crusader journalist, Bijou Peters. This was the woman who fought to get Sira Jaju, a burns victim, to get the adequate medical attention. She refused to let that story die. And she was publishing weekly, daily, monthly on Sira Jaju, a little girl who was involved in a fire accident, and she had, my goodness, she was really badly burned, first-degree burns all over her body, and clogged hands and whatever they call them in the burns. And this woman was there behind Sira Jaju, writing in the press. This is the woman who went to Ethiopia for a meeting and brought back information on the real damages of female genital mutilation. And when she came back with a delegation from Ethiopia, she brought this paper straight to me in my office at Topic magazine. And the position of the women was that the men who made the laws did not have to undergo that kind of circumcision. That's why they are pussyfooting and just dragging their feet about female genital mutilation. So they counted on me to take the issue forward. And for the first time, I published pictures of infibulation. I published pictures in my newspaper of women being circumcised. And this country went topsy-turvy. As a matter of fact, that was my last edition. They threw me out of business. And a mayor of the city came to me and asked me, Yoya def jigen ni chikate, Hanande Jurula. That's what somebody asked me in my office. And I explained, and I will do it now. The reason you don't pay attention to female genital mutilation is because nothing of you is cut. The removal of your foreskin as men is not important. But if they cut part of your head tissue, then you will know what women suffer when they go through mutilation. And that happened to be the last edition of Topic magazine, because my financiers withdrew and so forth and so on, but he didn't care. That the issue had to be. But that started the ball rolling, and now there's a law against FGM, isn't there? Yes. It had to start somewhere.
Mr. Johnson as well for initiating this, and my colleagues as well in the JSA executive who also took part in making this happen. Thank you, the students and everyone here right now. I think it's important that we remember why we are here as students of journalism, why we are part of the School of Journalism and Digital Media, because we joined the school, knowingly or unknowingly. We're joining the school to begin our path to excellence. It's very important that we remember to push ourselves at all times, and not settle for mediocrity or not settle for just good enough, because good enough is not enough. We should try to be more than that. And it's very important that we embrace people like Mr. Gay Johnson, because he's one of those people who never lets you just do the bare minimum. Whenever you do the bare minimum, he tells you you can do more. And some people might not be very accommodating to the way he's going to lay down the law and tell you that you're not doing enough, but it doesn't matter. That's how it's meant to be. When you have people that are challenging you to do more than you think you're capable of, you should embrace people like that.
So has decided to bring you this week. This week basically is going to be a form of collaboration among students so that we can get to interact, know each other better. Of course, we're going to celebrate the history of journalism and also the founding fathers of journalism, professors in this country, if I would word it that way. And this exhibition also will help us know the evolution of journalism, the field of journalism in this country, the newspaper production in this country from the beginning, from the dawn, when it started, the struggles that the journalists had faced, the first newspapers that came about. And
we could always look up to them and learn from them. This is a great initiative. Sometimes students always ask for fun activities, but activities like this are what inspires and motivates people. These are people that were here before us. Most of them are, maybe some of them are alive, but most of them are gone. And looking at what the struggles they went through before, enjoying what they suffered for. Now, it's really, really awesome and it's overwhelming.
Spending her hours for a little gain, even though she had the brightest smile and brain. I took a step forward and asked if she is the mother the prophet sent to respect and receive. To respect and receive, he was a prophet of God. He said it not once, not twice, but thrice. The mother that I am just come right after God. If you raise your hand to cause me pain and suffering, remember, I was your goal. You were really going to be complete without me. When you threatened my existence, take my pride and kill my dreams. Remember, I was your lost friend. I became your found slave, who you condemned in your house like a graveyard, and never challenged the man because he think you are braver. This woman I have been looking for was insulted in gathering, battered in front of her children, raped often, and will make her obey every single time. But that was her only way out. I traveled deep of my soul. There I found a partner and not a listener, a queen and not a slave, a floor for people to walk on, but not a roof to look up to for protection. If I haven't spoken about your rape or your violence, it's not because I'm not in pain or insane. I have not stopped you from slapping my dreams. It's not because I'm not capable or able. It is just because I wanted you to rise and see yourself for who you are. The mother I am, a woman, a giver, a pleaser, a helper. So stop violating her and let your wall shine high.
How can we talk of the history of journalism and not mention the names of these brave men and women who fought for the freedom of journalists? Even when the price was death, they never give up because they wanted us to enjoy the freedom of speech, because they wanted us to enjoy the freedom that we are enjoying today. I will say, we are super proud of you guys. You were gone but never forgotten. This is to tell you that the history of journalism started many years ago. It's not today. But we are proud because for the first time in the history of the Gambia, news exhibition have never been held. To the School of Journalism and Digital Media, we want to say thank you. And to the 10 Executive Council, we want to say thank you.